Most people think they have a spending problem, but I don't think that's true. What most people actually have is a decision problem. Because when you slow down and really look at how money leads your life, you start to notice something. It is almost never one big purchase that keeps you stuck. It is not a single dramatic mistake that sets you back. It is the small moments that no one pays attention to. It is standing in line and adding one extra item to your cart without thinking about it. It is scrolling late at night and buying something you were not even planning to get. It is telling yourself it is not that much over and over again until those small decisions quietly add up. And the thing is, none of it feels reckless in the moment. Nothing feels out of control. Everything feels normal, and sometimes it even feels justified. But then you check your account, and somehow it has not really moved. Not in a dramatic way, just stuck. Because you are not trying to be irresponsible, and you are not making huge mistakes. But your money still is not growing. And that is because it is not about how much you spend in one moment. It is about how many decisions you make without even realizing it. Once you start seeing your money this way, something begins to shift. Because now, it is no longer about trying to force yourself to be more disciplined. It's not about cutting out everything you enjoy or becoming a completely different person overnight. It is about recognizing that your financial life is being shaped by small, repeated decisions throughout your day. Decisions that feel invisible while you are making them, but very obvious when you step back and look at the bigger picture. Saving your first $10,000 is not about doing something extreme. It is about becoming aware of the patterns that are already running in your life, and then slowly adjusting them. Not all at once, not perfectly. Because once your decisions start to change, even slightly, your money starts to follow. Most people are stuck in a cycle they do not even realize they are in. They believe the problem is that they are not disciplined enough, so they try to fix it by being stricter with themselves. They tell themselves that they will spend less this month, that they will be more careful, and that they will finally get it right. And for a few days, or even a couple of weeks, they do. They say no more often. They think twice before buying things. They feel like they are finally getting control. But then something shifts. They get tired, they get stressed, life happens, and slowly the small decisions start slipping again. Nothing dramatic, just little things that feel harmless in the moment. And before they even realize it, they are back in the same place, looking at their account and wondering how it happened again. That's what makes it so frustrating. It never feels like one big mistake. It just feels like life unfolding. And because it feels so normal, it is easy to miss the pattern. The real shift happens when you stop trying to control your money with willpower and start understanding it through patterns. Because your money is not moving randomly. It is following your behavior, and your behavior is shaped by your habits, your environment, and your default decisions, not your intentions. That is why two people can make the same amount of money and end up in completely different financial situations. It is not about who is better with money. It is about who has a system that supports them. Saving your first $10,000 is not about one big breakthrough moment. It is about creating small, consistent changes that work even when you are tired, distracted, or not thinking about it. It is about making the right decisions easier to follow through on, and making impulsive decisions just a little bit harder. And when you do that consistently, something begins to change. Your money starts to feel less chaotic and more predictable. And once it becomes predictable, it becomes easier to grow. These habits are not exciting, and they are not dramatic, but they are the ones that quietly build your first $10,000. You start by checking your account before you spend, not after. This is not about judging yourself. It is simply about being aware before the decision is made. You stop trying to track every single dollar and instead focus on your main categories, like your fixed bills, your food, and your flexible spending. Simplicity makes it easier to stay consistent. You get into the habit of looking at your balance every day, even if it is just for a few seconds. Not to stress yourself out, but to stay connected to your reality. You begin separating your money into different accounts, so your bills, your spending, and your savings each have a clear place. That clarity reduces confusion. You remove your saved cards from shopping apps, creating just enough friction to slow yourself down before you buy something. You give yourself a pause before making non-essential purchases, Even a short pause can completely change how you feel about a decision. You make impulse spending slightly inconvenient by adding extra steps. That small inconvenience is often enough to stop a purchase you did not really need. You use one main card for your daily spending, so you always know where your money is going. You set up automatic transfers into your savings as soon as you get paid, so you are not relying on what is left over at the end of the month. You start treating saving like a non-negotiable expense instead of something you will get to later. You keep your savings in a separate account, so it is not constantly visible or easy to dip into. You slowly increase the amount you save over time, even if it is just a small percentage. You stop telling yourself that you are bad with money, because that belief shapes your behavior more than you realize. You begin noticing your spending patterns without judging yourself, because awareness is what allows change to happen. You decide what kind of lifestyle you actually want to maintain, instead of constantly upgrading every time you earn more. You become more intentional about what you consume, including the content you see every day, because it influences what you want. You replace some of your scrolling time with small financial check-ins, turning a passive habit into something more intentional. You keep your goals visible, so they stay present in your mind, instead of fading into the background. You avoid making financial decisions when you are overwhelmed, giving yourself space before acting. And finally, you learn your emotional triggers, because money often follows emotion more than logic. As you start practicing these habits, something subtle begins to change. You stop feeling like you are constantly reacting to your money, and you start feeling like you are guiding it. You begin to trust your decisions more, and you stop second-guessing yourself as often. There is a sense of stability that starts to build, even if nothing dramatic has happened yet. And that is when saving stops feeling like something you are forcing and starts feeling like something that is naturally happening. Not perfectly, but consistently, and consistency is what builds your first $10,000. The mistake most people make at this point is trying to change everything at once. They hear a list like this and feel like they need to fix their entire financial life overnight. But that approach usually leads to burnout, because this is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about gradually shifting your default behavior. You do not need all 20 habits right now. You only need a few that actually impact your daily decisions. The ones that fix your biggest leaks first. Because once those are handled, everything else becomes easier. If you are starting from zero, keep it simple. Start by checking your account before you spend. Remove your saved cards from your shopping apps. Set up a small automatic transfer into your savings. That is enough to begin. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. There is nothing flashy about saving your first $10,000. It does not come with a big moment or a sudden breakthrough. Most of the time, it feels like nothing is happening, just small decisions being made a little more intentionally than before. But over time, those decisions add up, quietly, until one day, you look at your account and realize that something has changed. Not just the number, but the way you got there. And that is when it clicks. You are never bad with money, or just making decisions in a system that was not designed to support you.